Ryan here, and welcome to this week's video blog. I'm going to talk about big league level contracting. Boom. 5 signs that you are not playing big league level contracting and what you can do to change it. If you don't know me, I help contractors build predictable sales models. And when I mean predictable, I mean long-term thinking, growing at the pace you want for the reasons you want. And the reason I can do that is I got exposed and got mentored by a big league level contractor doing up to 50 million in their local market. So I have an expectation, a standard, an understanding of what the very best looks like. And I also played professional baseball, and so I love using the game of baseball and different sports to bring metaphors and stories and connection to the game of business, because at the end of the day, it's the same. Number one sign is not willing to sacrifice. A lot of people, just like in baseball, if you think about Little League, right? Little League baseball, which is not the big leagues. I'm about to take my kids there now, and they're just happy to participate, right? My son's not getting up early. He's not saying, "Hey, Dad, what can I do today to get better? Coach me." He's not there. Hopefully he gets to that place. But, in the contracting business, a lot of your sales guys, your people in the field, they're not saying, how do I sacrifice to grow and to be part of something? And even as an owner, you're not really sacrificing. You're still going out bowling. You're still going out doing way too much. You're still, not really putting the things down that you need to be something special. Because if you think about the guys who, let's say Dominican in baseball, those guys in Dominican, Venezuela, Colombia, Puerto Rico, they're laying down their lives. Cuba, as a young boy, because they have this desire and this commitment to be the best, and they are absolutely committed. And so many contractors are so complacent, and they don't have any sacrifice. They are just doing it and just going with the punches and letting things pull them aside. So if you don't have any sacrifice, you're playing Little League. That's one. 2, no vision. So what I mean by vision is a lot of contractors, they don't really have a defined output of what success looks like. They don't know what the output looks like of all they're putting in. They haven't put together a number, a description. They haven't put together something that says, here's what perfection looks like. Because when you do that, it is incredibly powerful. And if you think about every single big league story, they always had a dream. They always said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be at this level. I want to play the big leagues. And so many contractors, they're over here waking up worrying too much about today's worries than dreaming about tomorrow. They're not dreaming about what the future looks like. If one day I'm going to be this, I'm going to be able to do this with my money, do this with my team, and create this kind of environment that I want. And it's really sad, because when you do a little digging, you do that. But when you find that the companies that don't do that, they go and try to imitate other people, and you try to imitate somebody, you can't do it. You're going to be, sloppy seconds. You're not going to be able to create and be original and be distinct, and you're not going to be able to distinguish yourself. It's a recipe for disaster. But if you are inspired by people to be the best version of yourself that you can be, then you're going to be incredible. And so the little leaguers have no vision. They're not inspired or defining perfection. I mean, look at Microsoft. Microsoft is a great example of somebody who defined perfection. They went ahead and said, we want to be in every home and every desktop on the planet. And at the time, everyone said, y'all are nuts. But guess what? It's a reality. So you're playing a Little League, you don't have vision. No community. This one's huge. The best big leaguers have community. They even have entourages, right? At the big league level of contracting, there's peer groups. There's contrast perspective. What I mean by that is, have you ever thought you were doing really good until you got around somebody doing way better than you? And then once you realize that, you're like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of work to do. That's what community does. And I actually provide a lot of that with my company and my client base, to give somebody some belief and permission to believe what's really possible, because our limited thinking is the first thing stopping us from being something great. If you think about the hard road it is for somebody who overcomes a lot and then gets into the big leagues, it's really hard. But when they're surrounded by mentors who've been there before, then it becomes a lot easier, because they believe differently, they behave differently, their discipline is different, they're imparted the right thinking. And it's incredible when contractors who are who don't have community, I can guarantee you they're playing Little League. They're not going to be any good. They're not going to be the best. And if you want to be the best, you want to be the best in your market, you are surrounding yourself with community. Think about this. The best player in the world is Mike Trout. His dad played pro baseball. He played minor league ball, but he played. The best prospect right now on the planet is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. His dad just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. There's powerful things that happen in community, and mentorship, and people who've been there before know what it feels like, know what it tastes like. So if you don't have community, Little League. 4, poor or no farm system. What do I mean by that? Well, you don't have a way to evaluate, motivate, coach, develop talent. People need to feel like it's a privilege to be here. Like I knew when I was playing with the Angels, I can be released at any moment. And I wasn't getting paid very much. I was excited to be there. How come contractors, we don't create an environment where it's like people want to be at your business and they want to do what it takes because they want to be a part because, well, A, you're probably not developing them. You're probably not giving them any level of standard to live up to. And they don't have any idea what the best looks like, how they're going to grow, what that means for them one day. And, your farm system's garbage. And, the reality is, guys, you know how baseball works. Most of you. You have the big leagues, but there's like 7 levels below that, right? There's AAA right below that. Below that's AA. Then there's high A. Then there's low A. Then there's rookie ball. Then there's like Dominican guy. There's short A. There's, all these things. And then there's college that's in the amateur levels, and then high school, and then travel ball, and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, guys, like you're doing the same thing. You want to be the best in your market. Your best players have to come and play for you, or else you're not going to be there. So you have to develop talent, and you have to have a farm system to evaluate it. I mean, baseball's full of metrics and analytics because why? Well, it's a predictor of success. If somebody can be measured and technology can be used, which you can do in your company through evaluations and CRMs and things that I help implement, then guess what? Like you're going to be able to say, here's what the best looks like, here's where you are, here's where we can coach, here's where we can develop. You guys are just working with the fact that they're a warm body and they're showing up and you're happy. We got to change that. So if you don't have that, playing Little League. And then lastly, no specialists, no specialization. Right now, a lot of you out here in the market and contracting, you're the owner and you're more than likely doing everything, right? You have to be good at sales. You have to be good at estimating. You have to be good at project management. You got to be good at, people, HR and accounting. You got to do it all, and you have a little bit of help. But as you grow, you have to, become focused on what you're really good at and get other people to do really well. I mean, think about this. Think about my players in my Little League team. They cannot compete in high school because they don't have the tools. They don't have the tools to compete. And maybe one person's tool, the best tool, well, guess what? He's got decent tools. We throw him on the pitcher's mound. We have him bat fourth. We have him play shortstop. And guess what you do with the person who's got the best tools? You go ahead because you're a smaller company, or if you're a smaller company, you have them sell, you have them estimate, you have them project manage, you have them do everything. And you as the owner are like, finally, you have some help, right? Well, the problem is that as you grow, the person who's playing big league levels, you're competing against, has somebody that much, way more talented and specializing in one thing. And when you have a team specializing, it's incredible. And you see the big leagues, there's very, very few people who do two-way of anything. Everyone's a specialist. And there's 5 tools. There's hitting, for power, for average, fielding, throwing, and running. And in big leagues, or in the contracting, it's sales, estimating, project management, marketing and brand, and then HR/accounting, like some of the administration stuff. And right here, guys, those are the 5 things those are the tools we need to develop. I help develop sales and make sales a predictable model in your company so that you can grow at the pace you want for the reasons you want. And if you have all these things dialed in, you're probably playing big league or close to it. But if you're not and you want help, go ahead and take a look at this case study video below, and I'll show you some stories of companies who are making some great transformation and starting to play at a higher level. Some are playing at a very high level, and they're just scratching the surface because of what they can do now that they've been making this a focus. So that's it. Go ahead and watch that video and then schedule a breakthrough strategy session with me and put something on my calendar. Following that is a quick survey you should complete. And so all good. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.